With his money, he's literally letting blind people see. He's letting paralyzed people walk. I want him to have the money, not Elizabeth Warren, who's going to funnel it to fraud.
He's letting blind and paralyzed people walk. What are we doing?
The greatest counter to this is everything that we're doing, everything that Elon Musk is taking credit for could just as easily be publicly funded. As a matter of fact, all around the world, it is publicly funded. Even in the United States of America, a big chunk of the new inventions happening in the medical field are also coming from publicly funded research. Elon Musk is simply taking credit for something that he played no role in. And you, as a stooge for corporations, is leaning into that narrative. Because I was training this morning, okay, at my trainer's backyard, and his dad comes out and goes, "I just watched you on CNN last night," and I was like, "Oh brother, oh no." And this is like they're demonizing wealthy people and success. I think I'm gonna tell you something, okay? I'm going to tell you guys something. This is at 7:31 a.m. Pacific time. Did they run it last night or something? Or maybe he watched it this morning, or maybe he was talking about another. No, I think this is from last night. They just are maybe replaying it because this is a nighttime show usually. This is a nighttime panel. Anyway, the Epstein class is a protected class. Yeah. I mean, if left to their own devices, I feel like we're just going to drive peak liberalism and shallow identity politics into that ditch, you know, where they unironically are going to say, "Oh no, the only POC we must protect are people of capital." Like people of color, sure, they've been under attack, but we've fought long and hard, and there have been solutions for the problems that pertain to people of color. But what about the people of capital, the real POC? Nobody ever talks about the real POC. Like the people of capital. Yeah, people of the CEO class. I'm worried that this is like what liberals are going to run with. You know, tax the rich is actually a slur. It really is. It's actually a much worse slur than the other slur. The ones that you can't say. See, you can't even say those other slurs, but you can say tax the rich. So obviously, there you have it. You can't say the N-word, but you can say tax the rich, which is a slur. Therefore, people of capital, the real POC, much worse off. I can totally see a world where like Republicans run with that, and then Democrat consultants who get their notes from the Republicans who have a very hard time fighting back against the Republicans, they will turn around and lean into it somehow. Of course, just like with the case in the Israel saga, where people just kept doing it and they still keep doing it to lesser and lesser impact, I think people are not going to buy it. I think people are just not going to buy it. Yeah. Abby does a Saturday morning show too. This is from today. All right, well, let's see what because if you thought the Hasan saga was over, let me tell you, it's not. The Bulwark is still hitting it. The Bulwark is still hitting it. Third Way is still on my ass, bro. They are still on my ass. Hey man, are you gonna talk about Big Z turning into Zioron? You mean Zogron? Is that who you're talking about? Big Z? Israel's greatest defender? Israel's favorite mayor? What did he do now? I'm chilling around. I found you by listening to TIT, then CNN was bitching about you. Bro, I mean, look at this. Look, this is what happens when you're not constantly caving, okay? When you're not constantly caving to the demands of the apartheid state and all of its most bloodthirsty lovers, okay? What is this? The Mamdani Act and the House Judiciary. I mean, this is the Mamdani Act is the this one is the one where it's like you can't be Muslim and like run for office, right? Or something. It's like one of those stupid ones. You gonna talk about Honduras Gate? Sure. To direct the Federal Trade Commission to conduct a study on the potential impacts of this is a separate one. There's another Mamdani one that Chip Roy put out, which was like, if you're Muslim, you shouldn't be. There was a There was another one that Chip Roy from Texas put out that was like, if you're Muslim, you shouldn't be in Congress. Like, you just shouldn't be allowed to be in Congress if you're Muslim, and we should also you and deport you first, and then maybe you in the process of deportation. Very cool. It's very cool that you get to do stuff like that in American Congress, and everyone is just like, yeah, I guess this guy has a reasonable disagreement. Yeah, he does, doesn't he? We do have a disagreement. I want to live. He doesn't want me to live. But I guess that's a reasonable disagreement from your perspective. Very strange. What else are we debating today? Like, are there other normal decorum-based conversations that we're going to have around, you know, can Muslims be? Question mark. That's it. That's the question. Can Muslims be? Are Muslims allowed? Question mark. Nothing further. Nothing beyond that. Should they be allowed to live on U.S. soil? Should they all be deported, or should we just deport, like, you know, at least 50% of the Muslims? Should Muslims be allowed to be in office? Right? Is Islam anti-Semitic across the board? Very cool stuff. Oh yeah, this was awesome. I saw this earlier. Also, yeah, happy John Brown Day. Also, happy Victory Day. Don't you think you went a little too far with Harper's Ferry? Don't you think slavery went a little too far? What Kami says. Thank you for the 20 gifted subs. Yeah, do Muslims have a right to exist? The answer is no, of course. But yeah, let's see what the CNN folks, the good folks at CNN, were saying about the fuck Hasan times 54. This is like the you know, what is it now? 3 months? I'm honored. I'll admit, I'm honored. By the way, we blasted off. Let the people know we're live and alive. I'm honored that I have been the singular focus of enmity. That, like, the media can focus on one issue for longer than like a 24-hour media cycle, and it's truly remarkable, because for the longest time I thought this was impossible, right? I thought it was impossible to have anything stay in the media cycle for longer than like 24 hours or 48 hours. And it turns out that is the case. It turns out they can have something in the media cycle for a lot longer than 24 hours. Because we're now currently sitting on the 3rd month almost. Some people want to read the chat. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Are you mad that I'm spamming in my own chat the blast off link so that people can go and interact with it, so that we can let the people know that I'm alive, and we can welcome people into the community? Overtime with Bill Maher, John Fetterman, Dan Crenshaw, Donna Brazil. Oh my God. This is like an op fest. Well, I guess maybe not Donna. What is, I assumed that there was some talk, right? Or am I wrong? Did Bill Maher do a piece on me? Old Bilbo Baggins? No mention of you? Whoa, what? That's crazy. Okay. That they brought two of my ops. They brought John Fetterman and also Dan Crenshaw. So, I mean, bro, this is literally a league of villains, by the way. This is, look at some of my most annoying ops. Like, this just straight up looks like, this is villain status. It literally looks like a bunch of villains in a round table being like, haha, how can we be evil today? What the? Anyway, all right, let's see what the CNN was saying.
Coming up, it's like, that's a mental problem. And if they can't deal with it themselves, then we should tax them to deal with it.
Lydia. So first, just to briefly address the economics, at least in New York, about the top 1% of basically 40,000 people pay about 50% of the taxes. So if you look at the numbers, I think Mamdani is going to be a tough spot because people will continue to leave. So that's just the reality. But in terms of the way that the rich are being treated, Mamdani, of course, is very close with Hasan Piker, who over the years has made comments that he wants to see effing capitalists' blood in the streets.
They know each other. You're associating Hasan Piker. Don't do that. That's ridiculous.
Mamdani basically...
Yo, chill. They know each other? No, we're best friends. Okay? We're best friends. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, I don't know him. Who's that guy? What's his name? What's his name, chat? Zoran? Zorro? What is it? I don't know who that guy is. What are we talking about? What is it? Zokran? Is that how you say it? What is he? What's his background? What's he like? Is he Japanese? Zorro? I don't know. I don't know this man. What does he do? What does he do? Explain to me what he does. What's his job? What is he, like the mayor or something? Barack Obama? Yeah. Zoran, the Croatian? He's a Croatian dude? Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that's cool, man. I love Croatia. Croatia! Yeah. What's his I don't know that guy. I don't know that guy at all. I don't know why they're bringing my name up next to him. Speaking of Asian people, Fukuyama just said China. I already saw this, bro. Are you kidding me? Every time Francis Fukuyama says something that is like in the HasanAbi school of thought, I watch it, and then I immediately tell my dad that I'm right and he's wrong, and his entire worldview has been destroyed thoroughly. That capitalism is over, and that the end of history, turns out there was a lot more history, and then the next like global hegemon, even if it's not a global hegemon, the next global leader will be most likely China. You know, your dad's a Fukuyama stan? Dog, my dad has a PhD from the London School of Economics. Okay, how have we? I've explained this before. Like, we do not agree on a lot of things, on the way that we see the world. Okay. He will get mad if I call him King Neoliberal, because he apparently he fancies himself to be a not even a social democrat, but he thinks that he's a socialist. He's not. Okay, he is literally, his entire life's work is upholding neoliberalism. This is what he grew up in. Debate your dad on stream? Absolutely not. One, he doesn't speak English. So he's probably more pro-Palestine than you do. He absolutely is not. I'm definitely more pro-Palestine than he is. I mean, he's also pro-Palestine, but he can, but he doesn't. Yes. That just means he's a dingus? No, he's not. He is not. He's not very pro-China. Let's be real. Chill, broski. Someone went to LSE and turned out third world is. There's only one guy that is. Pink Corbett Teal says, chill, broski. Someone went to LSE and turned out third world is. There's only one guy that I know that is like an LSE guy that is unironically a Maoist third worldist. But I mean, maybe not a Maoist third worldist. But it's Jason Hickel. Jason Hickel is one of my favorite guys on Twitter. He's a professor and a visiting senior fellow at London School of Economics, and he is like sincerely a third worldist, I think. He probably wouldn't say that he's a third worldist, but yeah, he's a degrowth guy. He's definitely a socialist. He's definitely a Marxist. Not Jackson Hinkledink, not the ACP MAGA communist guys. I'm talking specifically about Jason Hickel, professor and visiting senior fellow at London School of Economics, who I read his stuff all the time. My sister went to LSE and she's an anarchist. It happens. Look, I did the Oxbridge move, okay? I went to Oxford. I went to Cambridge. There were a lot of HasanAbi heads there. So it does happen. I mean, there were HasanAbi heads at Yale, which in my opinion is even more shocking, right? So it happens. I don't know why. I don't know how. Maybe people like accidentally read too much and then they become woke. But it does happen. So I'm not discounting that. So 9 articles since the rally. Jesus Christ. Corporate media condemns Hasan Piker. I'm a HasanAbi head going to Oxford for my PhD. Hell yeah. Jewish News Syndicate, racist, misogynistic, xenophobic. Democratic City official says so. Far left podcaster. The Daily Caller. Far left streamer calls for violent revolution after the court side with GOP on redistricting. F-bombs and disco balls. Fox News. Leftist streamer calls violent revolution inevitable as Democrats explode over Virginia courts. Yeah. You know what's really funny about this stuff, by the way? These guys run around at least the Democrats run around apologizing. Democrats run around apologizing on every issue, right? Even on this issue, there's like a lot of Democrats, like the New York Democratic Party said that they're not going to redistrict, which I think is ridiculous. Okay. I think it's completely unacceptable. And I think it's ridiculous. All right. You got the Virginia Democrats saying we will abide by the decision of the Supreme Court. Again, ridiculous. Meanwhile, you got people like myself, outsiders who are not like invested in the party's success necessarily, but still invested in the battle against fascism, the battle against the Republican Party, screaming from the rooftops, being like, no, you did a good thing with the redistricting in Virginia. You need to keep this up. You need to keep up this energy. Okay. And I'm not seeing that motion nor that energy from the figureheads within the party. I don't understand it. I mean, I guess I do understand it. Let's be real. It's just, there are reasons for it. There are reasons for it, but I think that there are Democrats who want to put up this fight. There are Democratic voters who certainly want this and demand this from their own elected representatives. But there are, unfortunately, a significant chunk of Democrats in positions of power who are looking at the situation and saying to themselves that it's probably better overall if we don't rock the boat, if we don't fight back, if we don't stick our necks out. And it's very frustrating.
Did a video right in front of Ken Griffin's house, called him out just blocks away from where the United Healthcare CEO had been assassinated.
I want to see this full one. I want to see this full clip. You know, I want to see the full back and forth conversation. But apparently Matt Bennett is still chirping, even though he went back and forth on this, where he was like, oh, we didn't even want to do this Hasan Piker thing. Like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. No one should have actually paid attention to us. Continues here, I think. What is this? Wow, Lydia Moynihan just threw Anti-Billionaire, left us into a frenzy. Okay, well, we'll get to the pro-billionaire, anti-billionaire meta. Obviously, it's a big deal. That's like what's popping right now. That's what people are really paying attention to. I got to pee real quick, so I'm just going to start with Matt Bennett. I'm going to leave you with Third Way. They went on Bulwark again, and they're on me again.
He is a vile person.
Yeah, he is.
There's plenty of vile people on Twitch, but not many of them are campaigning with major candidates for the U.S. Senate. And so we thought it was important to call him out for that. Now, the criticism was of basically two varieties. Tim and others said, why are you trying to shrink the tent? That's ridiculous. There are people that listen to this guy that we could win, and you're alienating them. And our view is, first of all, we're not saying that no one should go on Piker's stream. Ron Emanuel said, I'll go on there and tell him he's an asshole, you know, and our view is like, fine. If you want to go on and call him out, that's fine. What you shouldn't do is elevate him as a avatar or spokesperson for Democrats, which campaigning with him just inherently does. Mm-hmm. You can't campaign with someone and then turn around and argue that they are bad. And so our view is no Democrat should campaign with Piker. Not that they shouldn't speak to him, but they shouldn't campaign with him. And moreover, his audience, he does have a large audience, but a lot of it's under 18 or outside the United States or both. And those who are of voting age and Americans is not 100% clear to me are persuadable anyway. This is not a guy that has been helping Democrats. He said he was very skeptical about voting for Kamala Harris. He's a fair weather friend to Democrats at the best of times. And so we just think.
Bro, it's so funny. He's literally trying to hit. They're trying to hit every angle they possibly can. He's like, actually, a lot of his fans are from Pakistan. They're not even American. He hates democracy. He one time said he thinks democracy sucks. It just make it all up. You know what I mean? Nobody gives a. He's like, there's a lot of vile figures on Twitch, but none of them are campaigning with candidates. Yeah, because I'm a political commentator. Also, why are you yelling? Why are you frustrated? They are the ones who are asking me. What do you want me to do? Tell them no? It sucks because like he just, the reality here is that he cannot get people to stop wanting to actively collaborate with me. Okay? That's what it is. He's just like, why are these Democrats, why are these insurgent Democrats even running? Why are these insurgent Democrats trying to change the dynamic of the party to make it more responsive to the needs of the masses? Why are these insurgent Democrats going to HasanAbi Parker? Why are they not coming to me? They should be coming to me. I was thinking about this quite a bit. Like, there's an entire billion-dollar industry of advisors that work on these campaigns, and their job is specifically to tie up corporate interests back to these campaigns. Their jobs, they get paid a lot of money to basically tell Democrats like, no, you're doing great, sweetie. Just no matter what happens, do not push for like Medicare for all, because that would not be beneficial for our primary benefactors, specifically the private healthcare providers, right? Like they would get very upset, right? And they're making, tens of millions of dollars, both on the corporate side for their lobbying initiatives and also on the campaign side as well, to like communicate the interested corporations to these guys. So when they have a guy who not only has his own money, but has no corporate backing whatsoever, Unbossed and Unbought, it freaks them the out. Because all of a sudden, now, not only do we have a movement where we have real door knockers, we have people that can go out if there's a true investment, okay, in these campaigns, we can make these politicians listen to us. And they hate that. They can't stand it because I'm doing it not only for free, but I'm also spending my own money out of my own goddamn pocket to do it. That is a very, very frustrating predicament. If your entire job is to be the professional who gets people elected, right? If your entire job is to talk to campaigns directly, and all of the other people that are talking to all of these other campaigns are in the in-group, and they're a part of the in-group, and they're also backed by, maybe similar corporations, or they have a buy-in investment in the continuation of the current system, then that's fine. Third Way doesn't care if there are other people that maybe sometimes even attend their conferences that might have some disagreements with them, but ultimately they're backed by some kind of corporate entity, right? There is a buy-in for a lot of these people. They are getting paid by these corporations, right? It might not always be the insurance industry, but it could be the grocery chain, like the National Retailers Association, right? Like there's some kind of buy-in to this to this system. Okay, they have a direct financial imperative to continue things the way that they're going. I don't. I'm accountable to no corporate entity whatsoever. I mean, obviously I have to abide by terms of service and stuff, but like I'm only accountable to my community. I'm only accountable, like the only people I care about are my people, right? And they do not like that at all, because someone like myself, as long as I stayed in the sidelines and never actually directly started talking to politicians and making them hear our concerns, making them hear the concerns of the masses, okay, making them more responsive to the needs of the masses, as long as I was on the sidelines, they'd be fine. But now I'm no longer on the sidelines. I'm actually directly talking to these people. And it's ironic because part of the reason why this exploded is because of this idiot, Matt Bennett at Third Way. If he hadn't made such a big fuss about me stumping with Abdullah al-Sayed, it would have not made a discourse cycle explode for the past 3 months. And in the aftermath of that, virtually every Democrat in the country has reached out to do something. Okay. Virtually every Democrat in the country is like, can we have you fly out here? Like, that would be really nice to highlight some of the things that are happening. So it's really funny. It's also hilarious that this guy just puts his L's in the backdrop here. Hillary Clinton, Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, like, he's just not even ashamed. I guess he put the cuck chair in front of it. And as AOC also said, something that I say all the goddamn time, they can't attack the message, so they have to disparage the messenger. They have to make it so that you feel some type of way about coming in here and listening to what I have to say. They have to be like, no, this guy is an irredeemable piece of vile monster. All right? One of the worst people in American politics. You have to stay away. Do not look at him. Look away. But for a lot of the people that hear this kind of posturing, especially coming from a loser, right? A loser like third way Democrats who have had a stranglehold in the communications of the Democratic Party, the national party that has been unresponsive to the needs of the masses, especially post like Bill Clinton era, this right wing constant pivot to being moderate. This let's not fight the Republicans Democratic Party that everybody despises now. Third way is responsible for that messaging. Okay. But it's very funny that this has been a spectacular failure, right? It's been a massive failure because they hit this line over and over again. And all this led to was more prominence for your boy. All this led to was more attention to what we're doing.
Two varieties. Tim and others said, why are you trying to shrink the tent? That's ridiculous. There are people that listen to this guy that we could win, and you're alienating them. And our view is, first of all, we're not saying that no one should go on Piker's stream. Rahm Emanuel said, I'll go on there and tell him he's an asshole. And our view is like, fine. If you want to go on and call him out, that's fine.
Buddy, you have no motion. You have no motion. What are you talking about? You don't get to dictate these terms at all. And not only that, but actually, it's not true to say he has no motion. He has negative motion, right? What's really funny about this process and the way that it's like unfolded is that they have negative motion. So what ended up happening is when they started calling out people that were aligning with me, a lot of other people went, oh, but you're a loser. We don't like what you have to say at all. And you, more importantly, don't know how to win races. So we're going to go with this other guy. Also, I'm rocking a suit and he's not. So which one of us is the real professional? Which one of us is the real professional, sir?
What you shouldn't do is elevate him as a avatar or spokesperson for Democrats, which campaigning with him just inherently does. You can't campaign with someone and then turn around and argue that they are bad. And so
maybe that's the reason why they're not doing that. They're doing that so you basically get off their asses. Campaign all you want with Bill Kristol and Liz Cheney, who have immense amounts of blood on their hands, but Hasan Piker's off limits. Amazing that Bill Kristol's website has become the leading Dem foreign policy arm and the self-anointed moral conscience of the party. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I think Bill Kristol's probably more woke than these guys, for the record. Like, Bill Kristol's been like talking about abolishing ISIS. So low key, Bill Kristol probably aligns with me more than he aligns with Sarah Longwell at this point. He's just writing fanfics about you on live TV now.
View is no Democrat should campaign with Piker. Not that they shouldn't speak to him, but they shouldn't campaign with him. And moreover, his audience, he does have a large audience, but a lot of it's under 18 or
that's not true.
Outside the United States.
Also not true. Overwhelming majority of my audience, if not damn near entirety of my audience, is America, some in Canada, and the UK. Okay, it's mostly the English-speaking world, but like the hugest chunk of my audience is Americans. That's number one. Number two, under 18 is a minuscule percentage of my audience, so he's wrong about that as well. This community is now basically in the 18 to 35 bracket firmly, and it's actually more so in the plus 25 to 35 range. This community has grown older as I have grown older. Okay. This community has aged alongside myself. So that's also untrue.
And those who are of voting age and Americans is not 100% clear to me are persuadable anyway. This is not a guy that has been helping Democrats. He said he was very skeptical about voting for Kamala Harris. He's a fair weather friend to Democrats at the best of times. And so we just think having a bigot around is bad. And the second reason it's super bad, not only is it immoral, but it's terrible politics. It allows Republicans, not unfairly, to connect us to his most vile.
Dog, you're the Republican. You're the Republican connecting the Democrats. This is the problem. Okay. I just want these guys to be honest. Just be honest. Because if he was honest, here's what he would say. We here at the Third Way, let's look at Third Way's donors real quick. Okay. Third Way donors. Yeah, here, I'll do the AI summary first, okay? Third Way is a centrist think tank funded by a combination of wealthy investors, liberal mega donors, and corporate interests, including financial services and lobbying groups. I've actually given up on this at this point. It's just like that's the only thing that works now. Everything is AI summary. Okay, corporate and trade groups. Third Way has received funding from entities including the NCTA, Pharmaceutical Research and Manufacturers of America, and Securities Industry and Financial Markets Association. Their donors and foundations reported supporters include Bernard and Ann Spitzer Charitable Trust, Bernard and Irene Schwartz Foundation. Individuals, the board and supporters include wealthy investors and donors such as David Horvitz, Rachel Pritzker. Lobbying firms utilize lobbying firms like Peck Madigan, whatever. Funding structure, it's a 501c4 and a 501c3, which accept contributions from donor-advised funds. They don't generally disclose their donors publicly, however. Let's look at the profile summary here, okay? So Third Way is invested, okay? Third Way is invested in maintaining, and this is self-described, maintaining a moderate perspective that is pro-billionaire, pro-corporation within the Democratic Party. Like, that's what their job is, right? Their mission as a national think tank and advocacy organization champions moderate policy and political ideas. They have openly stated all the way back on March 1st, 2026, that their mission is to stop AOC. Their goal is to stop the left flank resurgence within the party. They do not want a Bernie Sanders style candidate to be running the Democratic Party, to be the most, you sound libtarded for real? Yes, that's me. So they obviously don't have any real motion. Their videos get like 100 views, right? Like their videos are motionless for the most part, but they're propped up by mainstream media because they are a vehicle for moneyed interest, right? They do these massive, DC, these DC festivals, right? They fund other groups as well, oftentimes to run these sorts of like better things are not possible ass conferences, right? And in those conferences, they often pay people to come and speak in front of these audiences. They put these people in front of wealthy donors. This is how it works, okay? Like their organic reach is, approximately 100 people. But they are 100 of the wealthiest people in the country. And obviously, politicians want that money. Politicians want those endorsements. Politicians care quite a bit about winning their elections, and they know the only way to do so is by being in the pocket of corporate interests. And Third Way is the facilitator of these relationships, okay? If you want to understand a bright future for the Democrats, or look at the shaky past of the Democratic Party post-Clinton, or during Clinton and beyond, Third Way has its fingerprints in everything that the Democrats have done as far as leaning heavily into being a more moderate party, constantly conceding on culture war issues of the Republicans, and primarily being invested in championing the oligopoly, the corporate oligarchy that dominates American politics and puts your interests second, right? That's it. They don't have any real investment in democracy. They don't have any real investment in the Democrats winning necessarily. They are just the corporate vehicle for the Democrat side, okay? There's a million of them on the Republican side, but this is basically like the corporate one. The corporate lobbying wing in the Democratic Party side. What is this? Oh yeah, this was their response to the 2024 loss. Takeaways on why Democrats have a cultural disconnect with the working class. Overemphasis on identity politics, the faculty lounge problem, failure to prioritize economic concerns. Yeah, except the Democratic Party's failure to prioritize economic concerns stems from third way's impact, ironically enough. Allowing the far left to define the party, all this stuff. Right? Yeah. Takeaways on why Democrats are not trusted by the working class. Vilification of wealth. Really? That's what the problem was, that Kamala Harris wasn't too pro-billionaire. These guys don't know what real people want. Okay? These guys don't know how real people feel. I can say that. Vilification of greed. They're too angry at the greedy. Anyway, third way is they got 31 million in revenue in 2024 and their expenses were 24.5 million. But it's not just the amount of money that they're dumping, and they're dumping a lot more money this time around. Okay, and their goal is to basically thwart some sort of like AOC run, not just AOC, but any kind of basically any kind of insurgent left candidacy. They don't want the Democratic Party to become a party that works in the interest of the working class. They don't want that. They want to maintain the current corporate stranglehold over the Democratic Party. That's their job, and that's why they're attacking me so aggressively, so viciously. And my point is this: if they were honest, if Matt Bennett, who apparently makes as Secretary and Executive Vice President of Public Affairs $379,000 and $379,453, comp plus 41,140, okay, or all these other people that make this kind of money to get like 200 YouTube views, okay, insane amounts of money, connecting Democrats with wealthy benefactors, right? If he was being honest, he would simply say, I'm backed by the corporate wing of the party. My job is to facilitate relationships with Big Pharma, with ExxonMobil, with numerous other wealthy oligarchs to make sure that Democrats are basically a flesh puppet for their desires. And someone like Hasan is a massive threat to our project. If more and more Democrats realize that this method is successful in both fundraising and achieving door knockers, like getting people to be genuinely invested in these campaigns, if someone like Hasan, who is not beholden to the same corporate interests, can come in and talk directly to campaigns, have a direct line of communication with elected representatives, if he can start like winning seats and start changing the ideological makeup of the Democratic Party, this will be a huge problem for us, because I will no longer be able to justify my $471,000 a year salary, because it's going to frustrate all of these incredibly wealthy donors, that the Democrats are no longer responsive to their needs, but instead responsive to the needs of the working class. And that's it. That's it. That's literally it. That is the whole point. Okay. That's their whole purpose here. And all of this other stuff is varnish. All this other stuff is additional silliness that they add on to try to disparage the messenger, because they cannot tackle the message. Graham Plattner's victory in the Democratic Party primary in Maine was a great example of this, right? Obviously, I didn't do much on that side at all, but it doesn't matter. Like he represents this change within the party. He represents a more responsive politics that even 65-plus-year-old white ladies want in the suburbs. Like, they love Graham Plattner. And this is terrifying, because Janet Mills was supposed to be the safe choice, the establishment Democrat that is the governor of the state, that is being backed by all of these corporate interests, being backed by Chuck Schumer, losing to a random insurgency campaign from a guy who had no political office prior, no experience prior. All of a sudden, he's just going out and talking to the voters, and he's putting numbers on the board. This was a huge defeat. The very fact that I had nothing to do with Graham Plattner at all, and yet Graham Plattner was so successful, also proves once again that this is not about me. I'm not like a singular force in this country's politics, but instead this is a very real, organic anger that a lot of Democrats feel, and there are candidates that they are willing. There are candidates that are willing to bet on these insurgencies because they feel like people like Graham Plattner are more responsive to their needs, their demands. Okay? So that's it. People are saying enough. Now, the same mistake is also being committed by the far-right reactionaries as well. When AOC comes out and makes a totally normal statement about like how billionaires are not earning, they don't earn $1 billion by the normal way, the normal design, and that the very fact that you've made $1 billion means that you've, cut corners, done some unethical things, and it's virtually impossible to generate $1 billion by, working a regular job. When she comes out and says something that most Americans intrinsically understand and also agree with, you don't have to be a card-carrying, ideologically loyal Marxist-Leninist or something to recognize that $1 billion is an unfathomable amount of wealth accumulation, and it's genuinely broken. Like the system is genuinely broken that there are so many billionaires, right? Most people feel this way. Most people understand it. Most people recognize that this is a level of wealth accumulation that immediately proves that the system is broken. So when you turn around and say billionaires are not working 1 billion times harder than you, most people agree with that. So it's great that the Republicans are actively positioning themselves as being pro-billionaires and pro-corporations. As a matter of fact, Donald Trump, in spite of his billionaire status, was a towering figure in American politics on the right because he never did that. Okay. Donald Trump would be like, as a billionaire, I bought all these politicians and now I'm unbought and not corruptible. And that's why you should vote for me, because I'm going to care about your perspective. I'm going to make sure nobody touches your Social Security. Right. I'm going to drain the swamp. I'm going to attack how corrupt Washington, D.C. is. Now, of course, he didn't follow through on those promises, but the very fact that he made those promises was unique, especially from a Republican perspective. So people are looking for this. People are looking for this kind of statement, right? They want it. They recognize that there's real problems in the system, and they want someone who will address those problems. So anytime that these Republicans come out as the pro-billionaire side, I think they're chipping away at their base, okay? If you are white working class, West Virginia, used to be a Democrat voter, now you vote for the Republicans, and you hear in the aftermath of the 10 years of Trump, you hear Republicans now turning back to pivot into the pro-billionaire category, you're going to realize real quick that the country club Republicans never actually went away. Now, some people do have that fealty, that peasant mindset, where they do actually think that the billionaires deserve it, right? Some poor people do feel this way, certainly. But not many of them do. So it's country roads, not country club. No. I'm talking about a specific type of Republican. Republicans for the longest time were country club Republicans. They were elitist. They were entitled. They had genuine and open disdain for the working class. They didn't even engage in this kind of like populism, sloppyism. Yeah, Nick Fuentes said he's voting blue in November. I don't know if he will, and it doesn't make him less of a massive human garbage. What are you talking about? You're getting duped by a avowed neo-Nazi. What the hell's wrong with you? Please don't do that. Oh my God. Nick Fuentes has been on and off the Trump train 1 million times over. Y'all are silly if you think that there's anything sincere there beyond Nick Fuentes trying to boost his own personal profile, knowing full well that there are a lot of liberals who will highlight Nick Fuentes and go, see, even Nick Fuentes doesn't like Trump. Yeah. Don't give fools like that the time of day, okay? Don't be gullible.
That's your point, Lee. Elon Musk has deserved every single penny of the money he's made. Jeff Bezos,
absolutely not. That is the most ludicrous statement you have ever made. They are making money off the American taxpayer, off the American government, after deals with SpaceX.
Bigger.
I don't know why you're shilling for these people. It's nuts.
It has made our standard of living, because capitalism has a moral argument that needs to be defended. It has made our standard of living better than any other group of people in any other time. And I would say,
standard of living, Lydia. Whose standard standard of living.
He's a trillionaire. Because guess what? With his money, he's literally letting blind people see. He's letting paralyzed people walk. I want him to have the money, not Elizabeth Warren, who's going to funnel it to fraud.
He's letting blind and paralyzed people walk. What are we doing?
The greatest counter to this is everything that we're doing, everything that Elon Musk is taking credit for could just as easily be publicly funded. As a matter of fact, all around the world, it is publicly funded. Even in the United States of America, a big chunk of the new inventions happening in the medical field are also coming from publicly funded research. Elon Musk is simply taking credit for something that he played no role in. And you, as a stooge for corporations, is leaning into that narrative. Elon Musk doesn't do it. He just tweets all day, okay? He tweets white nationalist screeds all day and complains about people not liking him. It's actually scientists that are working on some of these initiatives, many of which originate from publicly funded research. And as a matter of fact, publicly funded research would probably not have the profit motive and therefore be much safer in the research that they're conducting. If you're going to talk about Neuralink. This, of course, is extra silly considering that you're a Republican and you guys talk about Bill Gates microchipping people while you're simultaneously defending Elon Musk actively trying to microchip people's brains. Don't really understand that either. The idea that these sorts of innovations happen as a consequence of capitalism is a lie. It's never been the case, okay? It's also extra messed up to advance this lie when Elon Musk is most famously known for working in the administration to cut medical research alongside hundreds of thousands of jobs that kept Americans safe, that ensured that American meat was safe to consume, right? All the stuff that he did with his Doge cuts, which turned out to be a leaky faucet, showed that Elon Musk is not even a remotely competent person and genuinely a cancerous individual when it comes to American innovation and American prosperity. It's unbelievable. He is one of the most corrupt individuals. His experiences within the current administration show what many Americans already knew, that like this Trump administration is not invested in American prosperity at all. They're just destroying the country and robbing all of us blind, firing good government workers along the way as well. Good government workers that have engaged in lifelong service to ensure that, you know when a tornado is coming, right? To ensure that ensure that when you go to the grocery store and you're purchasing meat, you know that meat is safe to eat. Okay? These are robber barons that have unprecedented access to the government, unlike ever before. And your job is to defend them. Your job is to defend them destroying the country. And then you sit there and you act like the left is actually not invested in success.
Have I heard of Neuralink? Does it work, babe?
Lydia's point about capitalism.
God, this is so freaking insane.
Lydia, hold on, Lee. Lydia's point about capitalism being a vehicle.
That's your point, Lee. Elon Musk.
Not only that, but Elon Musk is also the #1 welfare queen, if you want to call it that. What is this? Instead of violent revolution, maybe you try to persuade a lot more people to vote for Democrats and Republicans. Worth a try. It's a JFK quote, Sarah. I know, Mehdi. It doesn't change my point. Lol, you didn't know, and you don't have a point. You're suggesting doing something that's been done many of times. At zero value to Democrats, it's embarrassing you spent your whole career in this space and are still so bad at this. And your solution is what? People like you lost your own party to the likes of Donald Trump and still have the gall to think you have anything to offer other than cautionary tales. Recognize their ideas are flawed and unpopular and try to real job like the rest of us. My job for the last decade has been working to defeat Trump. So, yeah. Okay, and you failed.